Hope you guys are getting things wrapped up and ready for Shabbat. Today is the big week 3 giveaway announcement. We're going to read the rest of the book of Acts. I got chapters 22 through 28. So about 6 chapters there. And then we're going to let you all in on who the winner is. I don't know who the winner is yet either, but I'll have Lucia do the roll or do the random winner generator dealie that she's got an app on her phone that picks a winner from all the people who have commented on our video and who have liked it. Dano, shalom. Palmetto Paratrooper, shalom. Dano, first one in the chat, just by an inch, beat you out, Palmetto. Thanks for being here, guys. So yeah, you're just joining in. Obviously, today is the giveaway. We got the Boo Boo kit, set of Zeet Seat here, bag of Sanctified Blend coffee, the Shema plaque, and the Sanctified Shema patch, leather patch hat. And somebody's gonna win all those products. And after we finish reading 6 chapters of the book of Acts, we will pick the winner. Yes, I'm roping you guys into listening to scripture with me. Most of you don't mind. I'm sure none of you mind. I'm sure you wouldn't even be interested in this channel at all. But yep, that's the point here. This is the whole point of doing these giveaways, is we're fishing for men, and sometimes this is what I'm using for bait, you guys. Full disclosure, this is what I'm doing. You know, I'm trying to get people in the boat. You guys are already in the boat, but you can help me by liking the video, sharing it, telling people about the giveaways and stuff like that. We're trying to incentivize the reach to get out there in front of more people. So that's what it is. All right. So I wanted to get this started a little bit earlier today than usual, so that we could wrap things up before everyone's settling down for Shabbat. So we'll go ahead and kick it off right now in chapter 22 of the book of Acts. I'm reading out of the scriptures. That's the TS 2000 or TS 2009 version on page 1080. Forgive me, I'm a little shaky. I've had way too much coffee. I got a little bit of the jitters going on here. Hopefully it'll help me focus on the reading though. All right, chapter 22, men, brothers, and fathers. Here, okay, let me go back a few verses, because back to chapter 21, verse 39. But Shaul replied, I am a Yehudai from Tarsus in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city. And I beg you, allow me to speak to the people. And having given them permission, Shaul, standing on the stairs, motioned with his hands to the people. And when there was a great silence, he spoke in the Hebrew language, saying, chapter 22, men, brothers, and fathers, hear my defense before you now. And when they heard that he spoke to them in the Hebrew language, they kept greater silence. And he said, I am indeed a Yehudai, having been born in Tarsus of Cilicia, but brought up in the city at the feet of Gamaliel, which was well-respected Pharisee, having been instructed according to the exactness of the Torah of our fathers, being ardent for Elohim, as you all are today, who persecuted this way, the way of their life, the way they were living, who persecuted this way to the death, binding and delivering up into prison both men and women, as also the high priest bears me witness, and all the eldership, from whom I also received letters to the brothers, and went to Damascus, to bring in chains even those who were there to Jerusalem to be punished. And it came to be as I was journeying and coming to Damascus, about noon, suddenly a great light shone around me out of the heaven, and I fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to me, Shaul, Shaul, Why do you persecute me?" And I answered, "Who are you, Master?" And he said to me, "I am Yeshua of Nazareth, whom you persecute." And those who were with me indeed saw the light and were afraid, but they did not hear his voice speaking to me. And I said, "What shall I do, Master?" And the Master said to me, "Rise up, go to Damascus, and there you shall be told all that you have been appointed to do." And as I could not see because of the esteem of that light, by being led by the hand of those who were with me, I came to Damascus. And a certain Hananiah, a dedicated man according to the Torah, being well spoken of by all the Yehudim dwelling there, came to me and stood by and said to me, "Brother Shaul, look up." And at that same hour I looked up at him. And he said, "The Elohim of our fathers has appointed you to know his desire, and to see the righteous one, and to hear the voice from his mouth. Because you shall be his witness to all men of what you have seen and heard. And now, why do you delay? Rise up, be immersed, and wash away your sins, calling on the name of Yahweh." And it came to be when I returned to Jerusalem, and while I was praying in the set-apart place, I came to be in a trance. And I saw him saying to me, "Hurry, and get out of Jerusalem speedily, because they shall not accept your witness concerning me." And I said, "Master, they know that in every congregation I was imprisoning and beating those who believe in you. And when the blood of your witness Stephanos was shed, I also was standing by and giving my approval to his death, and giving the garments of those who were killing him. And keeping the garments of those who were killing him. And he said to me, "Go, because I shall send you far from here to the nations." And they were listening to him until this word. And then they lifted up their voice, saying, "Away with such a one from the earth, for it is not fit that he should live." And they were shouting and tearing their garments and throwing dust into the air. The commander ordered him to be brought into the barracks and said that he should be examined by flogging in order to find out why they were shouting so against him. And as they were stretching him out with straps, Shaul said to the captain who was standing by, "Is it permitted for you to whip a man who is a Roman and condemned?" And when the captain heard, he went and reported to the commander, saying, "Watch what you are about to do, for this man is a Roman." JS Genesis Designs, shalom. Got your beautiful piece of artwork right here. Verse 27. And having come, the commander said to him, "Say to me, are you a Roman?" And he said, "Yes." And the commander answered, "With a large sum I obtained this citizenship." And Shaul said, "But I was even born so." Then at once those who were about to examine him withdrew from him. And the commander was also afraid after he found out that he was a Roman, and because he had bound him. And on the next day, intending to know for certain why he was accused by the Yehudim, he released him, and commanded the chief priest and all the council to come, and brought Shaul down and set him before them. Chapter 23. And Shaul, looking intently at the council, said, "Men, brothers, I have lived in all good conscience before Elohim until this day." And the high priest Hananiah commanded those who stood by him to strike him on the mouth. Then Shaul said to him, "Elohim is going to strike you, whitewashed wall. And do you sit judging me according to the Torah? And do you command me to be struck contrary to the Torah? And those who stood by, do you revile the high priest of Elohim?" And Shaul said, "I did not know, brothers, that he was the high priest, for it has been written, 'You shall not speak evil of the ruler of your people.'" Now Shaul perceiving that one part were Sadducees and the other part Pharisees, cried out in the council, Men, brothers, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. I am being judged concerning the expectation and resurrection of the dead. And when he had said this, there came a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the crowd was divided. For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, nor messenger, nor spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. And there was a great uproar, and certain of the scribes of the party of the Pharisees were earnestly contending, saying, We find no evil in this man. And if a spirit or a messenger has spoken to him, let us not fight against Elohim. And a great dissension having come, the commander, fearing lest Shaul would be pulled to pieces by them, commanded the body of soldiers to go down and seize him from their midst, and bring him into the barracks. And on the following night, the master stood by him and said, Take courage, Shaul, for as you have witnessed for me in Jerusalem, so you have to bear witness at Rome too. You guys catch that? Let's not gloss over that, right? Said, and on the following night, the master stood by him, Paul, and said, Take courage, Shaul, for as you have witnessed for me, this is Yeshua, in Jerusalem, so you have to bear witness in Rome too. That's pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever caught that before. Acts 23, verse 11. Verse 12, and when it became day, some of the Yehudim made a conspiracy and bound themselves under an oath, saying that they would neither eat nor drink until they had killed Shaul. And those making this conspiracy were more than 40, who, having come to the chief priests and elders, said, We have bound ourselves under a great oath not to eat at all until we have killed Shaul. Now then, you and the council, inform the commander to have him brought down to you tomorrow, as intending to examine more exactly all about him. And we are ready to kill him before he comes near. And when Shaul's sister's son heard of their ambush, he went and entered into the barracks and reported to Shaul. And Shaul, having called one of the captains to him, said, Take this young man to the commander, for he has somewhat to report to him. And indeed then took him and led him to the commander and said, The prisoner Shaul called me to him and asked me to bring this young man to you, having somewhat to say to you. And the commander, having taken him by the hand, went aside by themselves and asked, What is it that you have to report to me? And he said, The Yehudim have agreed to ask that you bring Shaul down to the council tomorrow, as intending to inquire more exactly about him. Therefore, do not let them persuade you, for more than 40 of them lie in wait for him, men who have bound themselves by an oath neither to eat nor drink until they have killed him. And now they are ready, waiting for the promise from you. Then the commander dismissed the young man, having commanded him, Inform no one that you reported this to me. And having called near a certain 2 captains, he said, To get 200 soldiers ready to go to Caesarea, and 70 horsemen, and 200 spearmen, after the 3rd hour of the night, and provide beasts on which to place Shaul, and bring him safely to Felix the governor. Having written a letter in this form, Claudius Lysias, who to the most excellent governor Felix, greetings. This man, having been seized by the Yehudim, and being about to be killed by them, I rescued, having come with the body of soldiers, having learned that he was a Roman. And desiring to know the reason they accused him, I brought him before their council. I found out that he was accused concerning questions of their Torah, but there was no charge against him deserving death or chains. And when I was informed that there was to be a plot against the man by the Yehudim, I sent him immediately to you, having also commanded his accusers to state before you the charges against him. Be strong. So the soldiers be strong. I suppose that's how he concluded his letter. So the soldiers, as they were commanded, took Shaul and brought him by night to Antipatris. And on the next day they left the horsemen to go on with him, and returned to the barracks, who, having come to Caesarea and delivered the letter to the governor, they also presented Shaul to him. And the governor, having read it, and having asked of what province he was, and being informed that he was from Cilicia, said, I shall hear you when your accusers arrive also. And he commanded him to be kept in Herodes' palace. Chapter 24. And after 5 days, the high priest Hananiah came down with the elders and a certain speaker, Tertullus, and they brought charges against Shaul before the governor. And when he was called upon, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, having obtained great peace through you and reforms being brought to this nation by your forethought, we accept it always in all places, most excellent Felix, with all thanks. But in order not to hinder you any further, I beg you to hear us briefly in your gentleness. For having found this man a plague, who stirs up dissension among all the Yehudim throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. Okay, real quick, that's where, if you've ever heard the book of the Nazarene, this is the same exact word that they're using right now, and they were accusing Paul of being the ringleader of the Nazarene. The Nazarene are those who kept the way. They were neither Jew and they weren't Gentile. You know, they weren't the early Christian church. I mean, they were kind of, but Christianity was made by the Romans. Okay. Anyways, I don't want to get off into that history too much, but verse 6, who also tried to profane the set apart place, and whom we seized and wished to judge him according to our law. But the commander, Lysias, came along and with much violence took him out of his hands, commanding his accusers to come to you, and by examining him yourself, you shall be able to know all these matters of which we accuse him. So what I meant by that is the Roman, the early Christian church, the first mention of Christianity was by the Romans. They basically invented this Roman Catholic Christianity that we still see today. So they didn't fit in with that, and they didn't fit in with the Jews, so everybody hated them. Sounds familiar. Verse 9. And the Yehudim also agreed, maintaining that these matters were so. And when the governor had motioned him to speak, Shaul answered, knowing that for many years you have been a judge of this nation, I gladly defend myself, seeing you are able to know that it is not more than 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem to worship. And they neither found me in the set apart place disputing with anyone, nor stirring up the crowd, either in the congregation or in the city. Nor are they able to prove the charges of which they now accuse me. And this I confess to you, that according to the way which they call a sect, so I worship the Elohim of my fathers, believing all that has been written in the Torah and in the prophets, having an expectation in Elohim, which they themselves also wait for, that there is to be a resurrection of the dead, both of the righteous and the unrighteous. And in this I exercise myself to have a clear conscience toward Elohim and men always. And after many years I came to bring kind deeds to my nation and offerings, at which time certain Yehudim from Asia found me cleansed in the set apart place, neither with a crowd nor with disturbance, who ought to be present before you to bring charges if they have any matter against me. Or else let these themselves say if they found any wrongdoing in me while I stood before the council. Other than for this one declaration which I cried out, standing among them, concerning the resurrection of the dead, I am being judged by you today. And having heard this, having known more exactly about the way, Felix put them off, saying, when Lysia the commander comes down, I shall decide your case. And he ordered the captain to keep Shaul and to have ease, and not to forbid any of his friends to attend to him. And after some days, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, who was a female Yehudite, he sent for Shaul and heard him concerning the belief in Messiah. And as he reasoned about righteousness and self-control and the judgment to come, Felix became frightened and said, for the present go, and when I find time I shall send for you. At the same time he was anticipating that money would be given him by Shaul, that he might release him. Therefore he sent for him more often and conversed with him. But after 2 years had passed, Porcius Festus succeeded Felix, and wishing to do the Yehudim a favor, Felix left Shaul bound. Chapter 25. Festus, therefore, having come to the province, 3 days later went up from Caesarea to Jerusalem. And the high priest and the chief men of the Yehudim informed him against Shaul, and they begged him, asking a favor against him, and that he would send him to Jerusalem, making a plot along the way to kill him. Hey, Pharma. Hey, guys, we got 17 people in here and only 8 thumbs up. Can you guys get this video out in front of more people by giving it a thumbs up? More people are going to see it. It'll kick the algorithm up, and then more people will be hearing the word of God. It's a win-win. Then, indeed, Festus answered that Shaul should be kept in Caesarea, and that he himself was about to set out shortly. Therefore, he said, let those who have authority among you go down with me and accuse this man, to see if there is any fault in him. And having spent more than 10 days among them, he went down to Caesarea, and on the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, he commanded Shaul to be brought. And when he had come, the Yehudim who had come down from Jerusalem stood about, bringing many and heavy charges against Shaul, which they were unable to prove. While Shaul said in his own defense, neither against the Torah of the Yehudim, nor against the set-apart place, nor against Caesar did I commit any sin. But Festus, wishing to do the Yehudim a favor, answering Shaul, said, do you wish to go up to Jerusalem and be judged before me there concerning these matters? And Shaul said, I am standing at Caesar's judgment seat, where I should be judged. To the Yehudim I have done no wrong, as you know well enough. For if indeed I do wrong, or have committed whatever deserving death, I do not refuse to die. But if there is none at all in these matters of which these men accuse me, no one is able to give me up to them. I appeal to Caesar. Then Festus, having talked with the council, answered, you have appealed to Caesar you shall go. And certain days having passed, Sovereign Agrippa and Bernice came to Caesarea to greet Festus. And when they had spent many days there, Festus laid Shaul's case before the sovereign, saying, there is a man here whom Felix left as a prisoner, about whom the chief priests the chief priests and the elders of the Yehudim informed me when I was in Jerusalem, asking for a judgment against him. To him I answered, it is not the Roman practice to give up any man to destruction before the accused meets the accusers face to face and has a chance to answer for himself concerning the charge against him. It looks like even back then, because our system of justice nowadays is based off the judicial, based off of the Old Testament law. They still have the right to face their accusers, which is pretty cool. All right, verse 17. They therefore, having come together without any delay, I sat on the judgment seat the next day and commanded the man to be brought in. When the accusers stood up, they brought no charge against him such as I expected, but had some questions against him about their own worship and about a certain Yeshua who had died, from whom Shaul was claiming to be alive. And being uncertain how to investigate these matters, I asked whether he wished to go to Jerusalem and there be judged concerning these matters. But when Shaul appealed to be kept for the decision of Augustus, I ordered him to be kept until I send him to Caesar. And Agrippa said to Festus, I was wishing also to hear the man myself. And he said, tomorrow you shall hear him. Therefore, on the next day, Agrippa and Bernice, having come with great show, and having entered the place of hearing with the commanders and the eminent men of the city, Shaul was brought in at the door of Festus, and Festus said, Sovereign Agrippa, and Festus said, Sovereign Agrippa, and all the men present here with us, you see this one about whom all the community of the Yehudim pleaded with me, both at Jerusalem and here, shouting that he ought not to be living any longer. Verse 25, but I, having found that he had committed none at all deserving death, and that he himself had appealed to Augustus, I decided to send him. I have no definite matter to write to my master concerning him. Therefore, I have brought him out before you, and most of all, before you, Sovereign Agrippa, so that after the examination has taken place, I might have somewhat to write. For it seems to me unreasonable to send a prisoner and not to signify the charges against him. Chapter 26. And Agrippa said to Shaul, you are allowed to speak for yourself. Then Shaul stretched out his hand and made his defense. I think myself blessed, Sovereign Agrippa, because today I shall make my defense before you concerning all of which I am accused by the Yehudim. You being most of all an expert, knowing of all practices and questions which have to do with the Yehudim. So, please hear me patiently. Truly then, all the Yehudim know my way of life from youth, which I led from the beginning among my own nation at Jerusalem. Since they have known me from the first, if they wish to witness that I lived as a Pharisee according to the strictest sect of our observance, and now I stand and am judged for the expectation of the promise made by Elohim to our fathers, to which our 12 tribes, earnestly serving Elohim night and day, expect to attain. Concerning this expectation, O Sovereign Agrippa, I am accused by the Yehudim. Why is it considered unbelievable among you if Elohim raises the dead? Therefore, indeed, I thought within myself that I ought to do much against the name, to do much against the name of Yeshua of Nazareth, which also I did in Jerusalem. And I shut up many of the set apart ones in prison, having received authority from the chief priests. And when they were put to death, I gave my vote against them. Told them that, voted against them. And punishing them often in all the congregations, I compelled them to blaspheme. And being exceedingly enraged against them, I persecuted them even to foreign cities. While thus engaged, I was journeying to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priests. At midday along the highway, O sovereign, I saw a light from heaven, brighter than the sun, shining around me and those who journeyed with me. And when we had all fallen to the ground, I heard a voice speaking to me and saying in the Hebrew language, Shaul, Shaul, why do you persecute me? It is hard for you to kick against the prods. And I said, Who are you, Master? And he said, I am Yeshua, whom you persecute. But arise and stand on your feet, for I have appeared to you for this purpose, to appoint you a servant and a witness, both of what you saw and those which I shall reveal to you, delivering you from the people and the nations to whom I now send you, to open their eyes, to turn them from darkness to light, and the authority of Satan to Elohim, in order for them to receive forgiveness of sins and an inheritance among those who are set apart by belief in me. This is why he was called, to share this testimony of what Yeshua did in front of the head of Rome right now, okay? This is amazing. Therefore, Sovereign Agrippa, I was not disobedient to the heavenly vision, but declared first to those in Damascus and in Jerusalem, and in all the country of Yehuda, and to the nations that they should repent and turn to Elohim, and do works worthy of repentance. That is why the Yehudim seized me in the set-apart place and tried to kill me. Therefore, having obtained help from Elohim, to this day I stand witnessing both to small and great, having none other than what the prophets and Moshe said would come, and that the Messiah would suffer, would be the first to raise from the dead. He would proclaim light to the people and to the nations. And while saying this in his defense, Festus said with a loud voice, Shaul, you are mad. Much learning is turning you to madness. But Shaul said, I am not mad, most excellent Festus, but I speak words of truth and sense. For the sovereign, before whom I also speak boldly, knows these matters. For I am persuaded that none of these are hidden from him. For this has not been done in a corner. Sovereign Agrippa, do you believe the prophets? I know that you do believe. And Agrippa said to Shaul, with a little you might persuade me to become a messianist. And Shaul said, much or little I pray to Elohim that not only you, but also all who hear me today might become such as I also am, except for these chains. And having said this, the sovereign stood up, as well as the governor and Bernice, and those sitting with them, and having withdrawn and spoke to each other, saying, this man is doing none at all deserving death or chains. And Agrippa said to Festus, this man could have been released if it had not appealed to Caesar. If he had not appealed to Caesar. I gotta repeat this verse right now because it really hit home with me, with what we're doing right now. It says, and Shaul said, much or little I pray to Elohim, that not only you, but also all who hear me today might become such as also I am, except for these chains. Chapter 27. And when it was decided that we should sail to Italy, they delivered Shaul and some other prisoners to one named Julius, a captain of the Augustan regiment. And having embarked in a ship from Adramyttium, about to sail along the coasts of Asia, did set sail. Aristarchus, a Macedonian and of Thessalonica, was with us. And on the next day we landed at Sidon, and Julius treated Shaul kindly and followed him to go to his friends to receive attention. And from there we put out to sea and sailed close to Cyprus, because the winds were against us. And having sailed over the sea along Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Mura of Lucia. And there the captain, having found an Alexandrian ship sailing to Italy, did put us on board. And having sailed slowly many days, and arriving with difficulty off Knidos, the wind not allowing us to proceed, we sailed close to Crete off Salmon. And passing it with difficulty, we came to the place called Fair Havens, near the city of Lasea. And much time having passed, and the sailing now being dangerous, because the fast was already over, Shaul advised them, saying, Men, I see that this voyage is going to end with damage and great loss, not only of the cargo and ship, but also our lives. But the captain was persuaded by the pilot and the owner of the ship rather than what Shaul said. And because the harbor was unsuitable to winter in, the greater part advised to set sail from there too, if somehow they were able to reach Phoenix, a harbor of Crete facing southwest and northwest, to pass the winter. And a south wind blowing softly, thinking they had obtained their purpose, having lifted anchor, they sailed along Crete close inshore. And not long after, a stormy headwind rushed down from it, called Northeaster. And when the ship was caught in and unable to head against the wind, we let her go and were driven. And having run under a small island called Clauda, we were hardly able to control the ship, the small boat. And having hoisted it, they used helps to undergird the ship, and fearing lest they should run aground on Syrtis, they lowered the tackle, and so were driven. Sorry, the lighting is hitting my page super weird, and it's making it hard for me to see. And because we were exceedingly storm-tossed, and the next day they began to throw overboard. And on the third day we threw out the ship's tackle with our own hands. When now neither sun nor stars appeared for many days, and no small storm beat on us, all expectancy that we would be saved was taken away. And when there had been a long abstinence from food, then Shaul, standing in the midst of them, said, Truly, men, you should have listened to me, not to have sailed from Crete, and sustained this damage and loss. And now I urge you to take courage, for there shall be no loss of life among you, but only of the ship. For tonight a messenger of Elohim, to whom I belong and whom I serve, stood by me, saying, Do not be afraid, Shaul. You have to be brought before Caesar, and look, Elohim has favorably given you all those who sail with you. Therefore, take courage, men, for I believe Elohim that it shall be according to the way it was spoken to me. This is another time that Yeshua appeared to him. It's pretty cool. However, we need to go aground on some island. And when the 14th night came, as we were driven up and down in the Adriatic Sea, about midnight the sailors expected that they were drawing near some land. So, taking soundings, they found it to be 20 fathoms. And a little further on they took soundings again and found it to be 15 fathoms. This is interesting. It sounds like they're using some sort of like echolocation, and maybe I'm way off on that, but they're taking soundings and finding the distance between where they are and the land. If you know what that means, let me know. Or just put it in the chat so we can talk about it. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Verse 29, and fearing lest we should run aground on the rocks, they dropped 4 anchors from the stern and were praying for day to come. But when the sailors were seeking to escape from the ship, when they had let down the boat into the sea, under pretense of going to cast out anchors from the prow, Shaul said to the captain and the soldiers, "If these do not remain in the ship, it is impossible for you to be saved." Then the soldiers did cut the ropes of the boat and let them fall off. And when day was about to come, Shaul urged them all to take food, saying, "Today is the 14th day you have continued without food, and eaten none at all. So I urge you to take food, for this concerns your safety, since not a hair shall fall from your head of any of you." And having said this, he took bread and gave thanks to Elohim in the presence of them all. And when he had broken it, he began to eat. And they were all encouraged, and also took food for themselves. And all of us were 276 beings on the ship. And being satisfied with food, they were lightening the ship, throwing out the wheat into the sea. And when day came, they did not recognize the land, but they noted a certain bay with a beach, onto which they planned to run the ship if possible. And having cast off the anchors, they left them in the sea. Meanwhile, untying the rudder ropes, they hoisted the foresail to the wind and made for the beach. But coming upon a place where 2 seas met, they grounded the ship, and the prow struck fast and remained unmovable. But the stern was broken by the pounding of the surf. And the soldiers intended to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim away and escape. But the captain intending to save Shaul, kept them from their intention, and commanded those able to swim to jump first and get to land. But the rest, some indeed on boards, and some on items of the ship. And so it came to be that all reached the land in safety. All 276 of them. What are the odds of that during a shipwreck that all of them made it? Impossible. It's a miracle. Chapter 28. You guys are still with me. That's awesome. One more chapter, and then we'll get to the giveaway announcement. Yep. The odds are y'all made it so. That's exactly right. Chapter 28. And having come to safety, they then learned that the island was called Melite. Melite. And the foreigners showed us extraordinary kindness, for they kindled a fire and received us all, because of the rain that was falling and because of the cold. And Shaul, having gathered a bundle of sticks and having laid them on the fire, an adder, a viper, a snake, came out because of the heat and fastened itself on his hand. And when the foreigners saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to each other, "This man is certainly a murderer, whom though saved from the sea, still right ruling does not allow him to live. Oh, were they wrong. Then, indeed, he shook off the creature into the fire and suffered no evil. And expecting that he would swell up or suddenly fall down dead, they waited for a long time and saw no harm come to him. Changing their minds, they said that he was a mighty one. Isn't this interesting? This is just how people are, right? From one ditch to the other. Verse 7. And in the neighborhood of that place there were lands of the chief of the island, whose name was Publius, excuse me, who received us and housed us in a friendly way for 3 days. And it came to be that the father of Publius lay sick with inflammation and dysentery. Maybe he was bit by a snake. Shaul went into him, and having prayed, he laid his hands on him and healed him. And when this took place, the rest of those on the island who had diseases also came and were healed, who also respected us in many ways. And when we were setting sail, they provided us with our needs. And after 3 months, we set sail in an Alexandrian ship, which had wintered at the island, and whose figurehead was Dioscuri. And having landed at Syracuse, we stayed 3 days, from which place we went round, and arriving at Rhegium, and after 1 day the south wind blew, and the second day we came to Puteoli, where we found brothers and were invited to stay with them 7 days. And so we went toward Rome. And when the when the brothers there heard about us, they came to meet us as far as Forum of Appius and 3 taverns. When Shaul saw them, he thanked Elohim and took courage. And when we came to Rome, the captain delivered the prisoners to the captain of the guard, and Shaul was allowed to stay by himself with the soldier guarding him. And it came to be after 3 days that Shaul called the leaders of the Yehudim together. And when they had come together, he said to them, Men, brothers, though I have done none at all against our people, or the practices of our fathers, I was delivered as a prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans, who, when they had examined me, intended to let me go, because there was no cause of putting me to death. But the Yehudim spoke against it, and I was compelled to appeal to Caesar. Not that I had any occasion against my nation. This, therefore, is the reason I called for you, to see you and speak with you. It is because of the expectation of Israel that I am bound with this chain. And they said to him, We neither received letters from Yehuda concerning you, nor have any of the brothers who came reported or spoken whatever wicked about you. And we think it right to hear from you what you think, for indeed concerning this sect, we know that it is spoken against everywhere. And having appointed him a day, many came to him where he was staying, to whom he was explaining earnestly, witnessing about the reign of Elohim, and persuading them concerning Yeshua from both the Torah of Moshe and the prophets, from morning until evening. And some indeed were persuaded by what was said, but some believed not. And disagreeing with one another, they began to leave after Shaul had spoken one word. The set-apart spirit rightly spoke through Yeshayahu the prophet to our fathers, saying, Go to this people and say, Hearing you shall hear, but by no means understand, and seeing you shall see, but by no means perceive. For the heart of the people has become thickened, and with the ears And with their ears they heard heavily, and they have closed their eyes, lest they should see with their eyes and with their ears, and understand with their heart, and turn back, and I should heal them. Therefore, let it be known to you that the deliverance of Elohim has been sent to the nations, and they shall hear. And when he had said these words, the Yehudim went away and had a great dispute among themselves. And Shaul stayed 2 entire years in his own rented house, and was receiving all who came to him, proclaiming the reign of Elohim, and teaching about the Master Yeshua Messiah with all boldness, unhindered. Hallelujah. All right, guys. Gotta love the book of Acts, right? Lucia, are you in the chat, my love? It's time to announce the giveaway winner. We've kept these fine folks long enough, and you're in the chat. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and do the generator thing on your app and find out who is the winner. You just did it? Couldn't handle the anxiety last time. Okay, so we have the new winner. Let's go ahead and find out. Drum roll, guys. Here it is. Don't drum roll. It's too late. I'm doing it. Drum roll. Everybody at home, I can hear your drum rolls. I need Bear to do a real drum roll. I'm not a drummer. Noah Inglesby. Noah Inglesby. Congratulations. Super cool name, too. Noah Inglesby. You are the winner of... Look at this beauty. Sorry, I dropped your hat. You are the winner of this beauty. Look at that guy. Oh, man. So good. Everybody, big shout out to JS Genesis Designs. This is the second of 2 of these that we gave out during these giveaways. So we don't have any more of these. In fact, I don't even have one for myself. So we all need to go right now before Shabbat, before the sun's down. Go to JS Genesis Designs, and actually I think these are sold out on his website, but he's got other really cool stuff on there. I'm sure if you send him an email, he could put in an order for you. Shema plaque, jsgenesisdesigns.com. If one of my moderators could put that in the chat, or Lucia, that'd be awesome. Thank you very much, JS Genesis Designs, for putting that, for doing that for us. We appreciate it. Well, we paid you for it, but we appreciate you making it. It's a beautiful work of art. Okay. Also, the Shema hat. And now you can pick what color you want. We've got the woodland, the multicam. We've got the brown, and we've got black on the hats. You also get the Boo Boo kit from Refuge Medical. These are $90, and man, you guys, I want all the stuff that you guys are winning, by the way, but it's for you. I have plenty of hats, but this is good stuff. The Boo Boo kit. We even left the sticker in there for you. We didn't pinch anything off of this order. And also, not to leave out these guys right here. You also got, not this exact bag, this is mine. This is ground for my espresso machine. But Sanctified Blend coffee and a set of Tzitzit made by my beautiful wife, Lucia. She does an awesome job. These things are really durable. I just leave them on my pants, and yeah, so sorry, yeah, the Tzitzits are sold out right now on our website. So these are actually mine also. She's got a pair for you guys. I couldn't find the set that she made, but We got coffee on the website though. If you guys want to help support, like this giveaway was really expensive. If you want to buy something from our store right now, everything's 20% off. Use code 1KSUB. 1KSUB, Lucia, if you would put that in the chat or put a link to our website, that'd be super cool. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys all participating in the giveaway. It's been a lot of fun. It's helped the channel grow, and that's kind of, you know, a big part. You make your own Zeet seats. Oh yeah, and Palmetto Paratrooper, he didn't have a product in this particular giveaway, but he's doing hot sauce, so send him an email if you guys are into hot sauces, you like hot stuff. Send Palmetto Paratrooper an email. I believe it's Palmetto. You can put your yes, I saw your order the other day, Darren Haworth. I'm sorry, mispronounced that. Oh yeah, get a mug if you. Yeah, we have the mugs also. They're gonna be taken. Those are being made through Printify, and I'm not really a big fan of how it's set up. So those are gonna be removed. So if you want one of those sanctified mugs, we're not gonna have those back on the website for very much longer because it's kind of a pain in the butt. They got to ship it from their facility, and then we ship our stuff from our facility. And then, so we just had some complications, and I'm not digging that. So we're going to streamline somehow, possibly mugs in the future. But those will be one of a kind. We won't see those ever again. So if you do want a coffee mug, and I left my coffee mug at home. Yeah, we're not drop shipping any items. We either have it in the house or we don't have it. You bring in your mug to Sukkot? Yeah, no, it's going to be shipped to you. That we don't have it. That's the thing. We're not a big fan of it. Now they're nice. We drop shipped one to ourselves. I like the mug, but you know, I don't like the process. So we're not doing it anymore. You don't have a place sorted out for Sukkot. Well, I'm attending a Sukkot in Lebanon. It's with the Parable of the Vineyard. We're doing that for half of the Sukkot, and then the other half we're gonna go Sukkot with our friends in Tennessee, and the Badgers. I'm gonna get to hang out with JS Badger at Sukkot. This will be literally I think this will be our third or fourth Sukkot in a row. Every Sukkot so far, I've Sukkoted with JS Badger that I've ever done in my life. So. Yeah, the double shipping is garbage. We don't like that. Next year, I just found out, you guys, that we will be hosting somewhere in Missouri. I'm excited. Good to know, babe. Main thing is figuring out if we're able to leave. Yeah. If we're hosting, I would invite you, Sergeant Storms. I'd love to hang out with you. Ian, I can never say your name, so I'm just gonna. A lot of people don't want their name being mentioned on here. We're not hosting next year. May drive to you all. Praise Abba. Man, maybe we should start planning that. I would love to have a sanctified Sukkot. You guys are just as much sanctified as we are, okay? This is Yah's business. It doesn't exist without you. Humongous lupus. I don't even know what that means in another language, but probably something. Sanctified Sukkot. What do you guys think? Should we? That sounds good. That sounds amazing. Who doesn't want to have a set apart Sukkot? I love that idea. I don't like the lighting in here at all, though. It's really bothering me. That's why I usually do my videos after the sun's set. This is how you know that I'm not like doing businessy stuff on Shabbat. See that, you guys? That's sunlight. But yeah, man. What was the name of who's the winner? Ingram, Inglesby. Let me find that. Where you at? One of these days, somebody that wins the giveaway is gonna need to be in the chat. I'd like it if the person that won was somebody who is checking into the to the channel regularly. You know what I mean? Kinda somebody who's engaging, kind of part of the point of it, right? Sanctified, set apart Sukkot sounds super satisfying and supremely sublime. Sincerely, it does. Alliteration for the win, for sure. I know, you guys are always here. I appreciate you guys, man. You guys, I've made real friends because of YouTube. It's pretty amazing. People that I never would have known before, I have fellowship with now because of this garbage platform. But same thing, it's like the rectangle of death. You can use it for good. Fallen angels taught the making of swords, but David used one to kill Goliath. He used Goliath's own sword to chop off his head. We could collect all the names for the next live stream and do a raffle live. Oh, okay. So you have to be present. Is that what you're saying? You have to be present in the live stream to win? Yeah, it is a big one. In the next one, you guys are going to see the amazing and beautiful cutting board that JS Genesis Designs made. It's a beauty. It's worth $250. And again, you guys, this stuff, it's worth every penny. But this money did come out of our pocket. And quite frankly, we can feel that. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that the people that are getting these prizes are engaging in the channel because, I don't want just people that are in and out just for the prizes. Nice. Just ordered your coffee mug. I got my phone set on Do Not Disturb, so I don't get any notifications while I'm on this, except for when Lucia calls me like 8 times in a row. For I can't remember what it was because something was on the porch or something. Bless you, Farm Ma. We do feel like your family. And man, I think about you guys all the time because of the gifts that you sent us. That beard oil, I'm almost grown out enough to use it. I was just looking at it today. I was like, there we go. Gonna have to soften these hairs up soon. You know, it's sad that my goofy videos about like, you ever get a wild hair? Those ones get thousands of views. But I post Bible stuff and it gets like 50 views. It's all right. I'm using, just so you guys know, don't get annoyed and unsubscribe because I post silly stuff on here once in a while. I'm doing that so that I can reach people that aren't engaging in Bible content, okay? This Bible content is only for the people who are already in the boat with me. And you guys are the fishers of men. We're fishers of men together. And we're looking for who needs to hear it. No, last time I saw you, Sergeant Storms, was at Arming the Saints. It's been a while though. Your beard was already getting big, but I've seen a picture somewhere. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you were like friend requesters. We're friends on Facebook now, I think. But I mean, that was almost a year ago, right? I mean, goodness. Lucia hasn't seen you since Sukkot 2020. So, yeah, this will be the 3rd year in a row doing Sukkot with JS Badger. JS Badger, where you at, brother? Probably taking care of the family, taking care of business. It's prep day. What was it? What I missed? Oh my gosh. Love that Palmetto Paratrooper. That's hilarious. The years do slip by. That's for sure. Oh man. Well, to each of you who have, gone and checked out Palmetto Paratrooper, JS Genesis Designs, or Moose Run Coffee, can't forget to shout them out. They make the coffee for us for our website. See, it says somewhere on here. There it is. Hand roasted by Moose Run Coffee. It's real good. We love it. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I don't recommend drinking as much as I did today. Kind of made me feel cracked out. Don't count me out on ATS. I really plan on going to that, honey. We'll talk off the internet about that, okay? Dude, see? No excuses, Lush. He's got 6 children, and he's going to be there for at least 6 days. Oh, wait. No. At least a day. I wish Armin the Saints was 6 days. It's only a few days. We can definitely go. Must jump off, get dinner for the hungry children. Good night, Bethany. Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, I haven't seen an invite, so, man, maybe I'm not invited. I'm not inviting anybody there. Bless you, tea and coffee, roses. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Bless you, JS Genesis. You're welcome. We hope that it has made an impact for you. We hope more people know about you now because of these giveaways. Oh, well, I better do that, man. My Shabbats are pretty, I do some fellowship stuff on Shabbats, I guess. Man, yeah, I better do that. I don't like my Shabbats to be super structured, so that's it'd be better if it was a day that's not Shabbat. I have such a rigid outline for my week already that Shabbat, I'm like, I don't have to do anything. So I'm not sure that I'm going to sign up to do that. Yeah, but you're like in the circle, you know what I mean, Palmetto? All right, you guys. Thank you for finishing up the Book of Acts with me, being here for the giveaway. What was the name of the winner, Lucia? Let's put his name in the chat real quick. He parachuted into the circle, yeah. You're welcome. It's a pleasure to have people listening as we get in the Word together. Where 2 or more are gathered, He's in the middle of us. All right, we got a few people left. I forgot to open in prayer. Let's close in prayer. Heavenly Father, bless you. Thank you so much for your Shabbat and for your word And for all these people that love you and are seeking you daily, I pray that you would fill each one of them with your Ruach HaKodesh, that you would just indwell them and speak life through them to their families. And I pray that you just give us peace and shalom and joy and love as we enter into rest on your Sabbath. I pray that we would just work things as far away from our brain as possible for the next 24 hours at least. And Father, I just pray that you would be with us all and bless each one that's hearing me right now in the name of Yeshua. Amen. Love you guys. Noah Inglesby, report for duty by Monday morning or we'll pick another winner. Shalom, guys.